This is a topic that I think is a really intriguing one that we haven't really explored too much, but we have made a few videos here and there. Let's talk today about Dach. No, not the Dach that is on the Montreal Canadiens, that in which was a former third overall pick. He had played for Chicago. He was okay with Chicago, not the best, but he kind of had a lot more room to grow with the Blackhawks. Unfortunately, though, they gave up on Dach, traded him away, and now he's a member of the Montreal Canadiens. But the reason we're talking about Dach here today is because I wanted to focus on the guy's younger brother, Kelowna Rockets forward Colton Dach, and the very intriguing storyline that's persisting about how A, the guys made the World Junior team, in a position where some fans and scouts are questioning the selection, as well as the fact that Colton Dach is a Chicago Blackhawks prospect. There was about a year's worth of time where Colton Dach was in the same NHL organization as his older brother Kirby. It's just unfortunate that Kirby was traded over in this most recent off-season period. Let's go over Colton Dach, talk about what he is, talk about the updates to his overall profile, whether or not he can be as good as Kirby, and what the heck he's going to be doing at the World Junior squad. So, Colton Dach is 19 years old, 6'4", 196, so a very similar physical profile to older brother Canadiens Kirby. He was born in 2003, so he was eligible for the 2021 NHL Entry Draft, and if you look at the numbers, you can see that Colton Dach, in a shortened season due to the pandemic, had 20 points in 20 WHL games for the Saskatoon Blades. It was nice because Colton was playing on the same team that Kirby played for. They were both Blades, and they were both in the WHL. This is what the scouting report says about Colton Dach back from the 2021 NHL timeframe. Dach's one of the better shooters in the draft from a mechanical standpoint. He pushes his hands out in front of his body, lifts the top arm elbow to his shoulder or higher, and creates distance between his feet despite skating limitations to generate downward force. He uses his condor-like wingspan to reach around sticks, hook pass, or pull the puck in and pass under them. Slip pass. He's a pretty talented player, and a second-round pick definitely is not the worst swing in the world for this type of guy. And you can see in the post-draft interview, they had the Blackhawks jersey, he had the hat, and Kirby Dach actually showed up in the background, giving his little brother a noogie and saying, "Hey, like, this is awesome, Chicago, let's go." And it was hype. It was cool to see two Dachs in the same system, but of course, there's always that idea where it's like, okay, well, I don't know if he was not named Dach, if you would actually taken this guy, but okay, nice pick. Same could be said about Taylor McCarr, Colorado Avalanche prospect whose brother happens to be, one of the best hockey players in the world. But Colton ever since then had a pretty good run in the WHL. Last year, he had 79 points in 61 games played for a Kelowna Rockets squad that was pretty alright. They were second place in the BC division, just behind the Kamloops Blazers. This season, though, unfortunately, the Rockets are not doing all too well. They're fourth in the BC division. They have lost more than they have won. And Colton Dach's numbers, as a result, have kind of taken a bit of a decline. He's at 17 points in 14 games right now as the captain of that team, projected to finish off with 66 points in 54 games played. Now, again, even though it is a decline, the team is in a worse standing than they were last year, so it kind of makes sense. But Colton Dach was indeed one of the many players invited to Team Canada's World Junior Training Camp, and he ended up making the team. This was greeted with a lot of intriguing discourse when you acknowledge that other skilled guys like Owen Beck, for example, in the OHL, you have other players like Jordan Dumais, top scorer in the QMJHL, they did not make the team. And so, with Colton Dach, the big power forward-esque center, you had yourselves a lot of people saying, hey, this is kind of Hockey Canada just doing what Hockey Canada does, taking bigger guys for the sake of taking bigger physical guys, maybe because they want to play some rough and tough hockey on some certain lines, and passing up on skilled, talented, point-producing players in the process. In fact, this is an article on The Athletic. Team Canada announces their World Junior roster. Biggest surprises, significant omissions, and the tournament outlook. I'm not going to screenshot this because The Athletic is paid for material, but pretty much Scott Wheeler goes out there and says in the article that the biggest surprise for him is Colton Dach making the roster, citing his play in the regular season as well as his play in camp, and it's kind of an intriguing decision to him as to why Dach was the guy that was given the role. Of course, though, there are more reasons than one to make a hockey team, and point production is not the only one out there. Let's read the Dobber Prospect Scouting Report on Colton Dach from this month. To get an inkling as to why that is, the Kelowna Rockets captain is getting his chance to further display his skills and leadership capabilities with a bolstered World Junior squad. The first roster was announced on December 12th by Hockey Canada, where Dach will have the chance to play with great players on the biggest junior stage. Dach has come along strong with the Rockets since coming back from injury. He is posting over a point-per-game pace with 9 goals and 8 assists over a 14-game span. This is nothing new for Dach, as previous year's numbers were also impressive, as written by Puneet Sharma. The regular report also says he's an offensively skilled forward with solid stick-handling abilities and is able to play in both the center and left-wing slots. His size is a great advantage over his opponents, especially down low, where he's able to muscle his way in and control the puck. He has a strong yet very deceptive release for a player of his size. As a 6'4" forward, his skating was one noticeable flaw in his game. However, he has been able to strengthen his acceleration and edge work since being drafted. The probability of being a reliable middle six NHL player is certainly there. Furthermore, you had yourselves the experimentation going on with Team Canada lines. Colton Dach was going out there sometimes playing with Connor Bedard. Other times he was playing with Josh Waugh and Reed Schaefer, who happens to be his roommate, I believe, which is kind of funny and nice to see. But either way, this tournament is going to be a pretty good indicator as to where Colton Dach is with his development. Obviously, he was a second-round pick, so not all second-rounders eventually make the NHL, but the fact that he's here, the fact that he's producing enough, I guess you could say, in the WHL, the fact that he is a Blackhawks prospect that is the brother of a former Blackhawk who was traded away, that adds an entirely other element to his development and his profile. In fact, I'm really intrigued as to how the summer went for this family, where Kirby had to say, yeah, I got traded, I'm in Montreal now, I'm not a Chicago Blackhawk, and Colton might have been like, wait, what about me? Are we not in the same team anymore? Like, obviously brothers know what it's like to play away from each other, but after you're given the chance to be together in the first place, it's kind of intriguing seeing that be ripped away at the hands of the Chicago Blackhawks. So, talk to the comments on your thoughts about Colton Dach and the way he's developed so far. If you're a Kelowna Rockets fan, what are your thoughts on the way he's played and progressed from last season until now? Do you think he was deserving of a World Junior spot? Do you think his leadership, his maneuverability with his size, they're going to translate to higher levels of play, let alone the World Juniors by itself? Do you think he should have been given a spot over guys like Owen Beck and Jordan Dumais and a few other names that were standing out in the eyes of many hockey fans? And do you think that Colton Dach is on pace to becoming somewhat a similar player as his brother? Now, his brother's a really good one. He was on the first line with Suzuki and Caulfield, but if Colton Dach can become a, let's say, second-line player, I wouldn't necessarily think that's a bad thing, especially for a second-round draft pick. But thoughts in the comment section below about Dach and his development so far. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 99, and bye.